Hey guys, it's Bree. So in today's video, we are going to be discussing my August wrap-up, which was a very good reading month for me. I read 4 books and 1 short story, which is very, very good compared to my months previous. It felt actually pretty good to be reading again. I haven't really read that much in these last couple months, and I just love reading, so I'm very excited to get back into books. Sorry for my voice, I'm very congested right now, and I wanted to get this video up as soon as possible, so we're doing it now, even though I don't feel the best. We're gonna do it in general. So the first book, I will say this as well. When I rate books, I don't really rate books in general. I just tell you my thoughts on them and how I like the book. It's very rare for me not to like a book. Like, I only have a handful of books that I've ever read that I did not really enjoy. But all of these books I enjoyed. I really, really loved them. And yeah, there's not really negative feedback on any of these in general. So the first book that I read was Until You by Penelope Douglas. This is the novella of the Fallen Away series. So this is the story right after Bully. This is Jared's point of view, and I absolutely adored this book. If you liked Bully, you're definitely going to like Until You, because of course it's the same story but in Jared's point of view. I will say also in this book you get a few more scenes in context compared to the first book, but I loved it in general. It goes more into deep of why Jared's the way he is, why he did what he did in general, which I will say doesn't justify how he was in the book in general, but I really loved him as a person. And like I said, if you like the first book, you're gonna love this one, and I'm very excited for the rest of the series. Rival is the next book, and I do plan on reading it not this month but probably next month so I can get more into it. Yeah, but I really did enjoy this book in general. Like I said, I enjoyed Bully. I knew I was gonna enjoy this, and it made me like Jared a little bit more than I did in the first book. So, but I will say, do I forgive him all in general? No, but I really enjoyed his point of view. So the next book I have is Neon Gods by Katee Roberts. I actually enjoyed this book a lot more than I thought I did. I've heard a lot of mixed opinions about this book. A lot of people say it's fantastic. A lot of people say it's not. I actually really enjoyed it. I didn't read the synopsis going into this book, so I really didn't know what to expect. But the way she wrote about the the Greeks, like the mythology in this was actually pretty interesting. It's more of like a ranking, not kind of like a ranking system in their city, not so much as like Greek gods in general, but like their positions. They're like born into these positions and stuff like that, or they're like hired into positions and stuff like that, if that makes sense. But that was actually a really interesting concept, and I never really thought about that, but I did end up enjoying it. I love Hades, I love Persephone. Even in this book, it was, like I said, I really don't read that much Hades and Persephone retelling, but I absolutely loved the Greek mythology, like the original Greek story, and I really enjoyed this. It was a lot, I'm gonna say, it was a lot less smutty than I thought it was gonna be, which was surprising. I thought there was gonna be more, but it was pretty good, not gonna lie. I don't read books for that. I read it for the plot line. I love the way he was with Persephone. A lot of people see Hades as this villain, this bad guy, because he is the god of the underworld, and right here he is like the king of the lower city, and stuff like that. But he really is like the sweetest little thing. And Persephone is a little weirdo, is a little wirecracker, to be honest. So I really enjoyed this book. The next book I read, short story I read, was Galatea by Madeline Miller. This is literally the smallest book I have ever seen in my life. I'm pretty sure they're smaller, but this is a short story by Madeline Miller. I love Madeline Miller. I love Song of Achilles and I love Circe. Those are my two of my favorite like Greek books of all time. And I saw this in Target, And I'm like, this is literally what I've been looking for and wanting to read for a while. And so I picked it up and I read it one day, because it's literally 50 pages and like the smallest font you can ever think of. And I really enjoyed it. The story of this, I forgot what it was, like, going into it. I didn't really read the synopsis of this either, but even it being such a short story, it's written so beautifully and written so well that I just love it. Like I said, I'm a Greek mythology girly. I love Greek mythology. It's one of my favorite things to read about. So I was very, very happy with this. Even though it's like the shortest book ever, it was really, really good, to be honest. And then the next two books that I read were, well, this one was a reread, and that was This Woman Kingdom by Tahereh Mafi. I loved this book even more the second time rereading it. The first time I read it, I'm not gonna lie, I comprehended it, but I didn't really remember anything. So I actually had gotten this one on audio before going into the second book, so that I had more of an understanding, so that I have kind of a refresher in general. And like I said, that reread was one of the best things I could have done, because it made me love the book even more. So if you don't know anything about this book, it's basically following Eliza, who is a jinn, which is a type of not supernatural, kind of people in this kingdom, and Cameron, who is the prince of the kingdom as well. And I would like to say, the way this man fell for her so hard, I loved him in general. I loved the story in general. It is a kind of like, I would somewhat say enemies to lover, but not really. But I loved how you do have that romance aspect, but there's so much more than just romance. There is a lot of like a little bit more of like the political of the kingdom here as well. But the magic system, her, what's it called, fight and drive as well for her. You know, she's such a powerful being, but she's so very down to earth as well, is so amazing. I loved the characters in this book. And I will say, if you read this book and you love it, I would automatically go into these infinite threads, because this does land on a cliffhanger. And I read this book, I think, like a month or two after it came out, and after that cliffhanger I was done. So I was very, very happy to be doing that reread. That goes into, of course, These Infinite Threads by Tahereh Mafi. This book was so good. I freaking loved this book. Like I said, I actually read this on audiobook as well, because it really did help me out, especially reading this one. And also because I've been sick. If you ever had like nose or chest congestion and it gets to your head, you do not want to be looking at the pages of a book and words. I have yet to start the book. I wanted to this month because I haven't been feeling well. I haven't been able to read a book. So the audiobook really did help me for this one, and I absolutely loved it. I'm not going to go into really detail of this book as much, because if you haven't read the first one, you're not going to understand anything. But oh my gosh, the way, like I said in the first book, the way these men fall for her, which makes sense because she is such an amazing person in general. I love, like I said, I love the characters. I love our main character. I love the male interest in this series. And I will say, I absolutely loved this book because of the banter. A little bit of a spoiler, the two, Eliza and Cameron do not interact at all in this book. I will say that. Spoiler in general. They do not interact at all in this book. But even though they're not together in this book, the dialogue between other characters in general was so funny to me, like during times. And the way the narrator of this book narrates as well was done really, really well. And like I said, I absolutely love this book. The reread was the best idea I could have done. And I'm very upset that I still have to wait until, I believe it doesn't come out till February, the third book. And the way this left off as well, I was shocked. Let's just say I'm shocked. But I really, really did love this book. And that was all of the books I read this month. I will say, My favorite book of the month. Let's do that, actually. Ooh. My favorite book of the month probably has to be just these two in general. Like I said, I absolutely love the writing. I love, what's it called? The story. I love the magic system. I love the characters. I love the side characters as well. They're very, very, very good side characters. And I can't wait to read, like I said, I can't wait to read the last book and also read more of Tahereh Mafi. I have yet to read Shatter Me, and that's on my list of things to read by her, and in general. So yeah, that is the end of this wrap up, guys. Let me know how y'all's reading month had went, and I will see y'all guys in the next video. Bye.